You have seen the signs around you. Gradual creeping, decay, and dysfunction. You have realized that something is wrong with the media and the people around you. You know that you are different. This is why you are ready to become a receiver. You have been issued a series of audio cassette tapes that are part of our system for advancing insight. By continually listening to these tapes, you will drown out and eventually counteract the negative influences from your environment. Once you have absorbed these tapes, you will have taken the first step towards awakening your true self. The media is a threat. We have a technique to help. We use tapes as part of this technique. You must listen to them to advance. Cooper's second rule of gun safety is to never point the gun at something you are not willing to destroy. Now, this seems obvious, but is easy to forget in the moment. If you're training at the range and a burning hot shell casing falls down your shirt, are you prepared to keep the gun pointed at the target? If the gun malfunctions, are you sure you won't point it sideways to get a better look at what's wrong? What if you were preparing to take it apart for routine maintenance? Are you still paying attention to which way the barrel is pointing? Many accidents take place while cleaning guns, because that's often when we let our guard down. Indecision and anxiety are the natural result of disordered thoughts. Ideas have weight and potential. They exist in a sequence, linked to other concepts that precede and follow them. Mental exercises will forge these broken links into an unbreakable chain to harness your will. It's common knowledge that some needs are a higher priority than others. People note that in order to pursue some, others must be fulfilled first. They frame the complex situation using a simple, unrealistic examples, like how you can't be happy if you don't have air to breathe. These simplifications are used to hide more complex truths, that the body sustains the mind, and the mind sustains the body. The most present needs are in the domain of the mind. Without baseline function of thought, you can find yourself without the will to move or eat. Strengthening the mind by developing focus and resilience is the goal of a technique we call mind tech. To aim a firearm correctly, you must be familiar with the sight picture, how the sights look when they are lined up correctly. Handgun sights almost always work in the same way. You line up the front sight in the middle of the gap in the rear sight and make sure the top of the front sight is level with the top of the rear sight. If zeroed correctly, the bullet should hit right at the top of the front sight at the zero distance, usually around 15 yards. For maximum accuracy, you should focus on your front sight even though it makes the target look blurry. There's no point shooting at a crisp target if you can't tell if your sights are lined up. Smith & Wesson kept iterating on their revolver design in response to increasing demands from military and police around the world, and combined all of that feedback in 1899 into their 10th model, the creatively named Smith & Wesson Military and Police Revolver. Well, since body shaming had not yet been invented, they sold it in all sorts of shapes, with rounded or square butts and barrels ranging from 2 to 6.5 inches in length. The main innovation of the Model 10 was combining the swing-out cylinder pin with the hand ejector rod, making it much more reliable than previous attempts at this design. This was the first revolver that combined fast reloading, reliability, and accuracy, and sold accordingly. It is arguably the best-selling handgun of all time. After they added the hammer rest in 1915, the design is widely considered to be perfect. In the following 100 years, there have been no significant improvements on this design. Together, we have laid the foundation. You have shown great potential, but the potential is yet to be realized. We have sent the message. Can you hear it? There is a insidious force moving through your media. weakening the mind and causing widespread dysfunction. We call this the threat. We have developed a technique called mind tech to combat this threat. A new set of tapes has been issued to train and prepare you. One tool used by the threat is called the anti-pattern. The threat cultivates an atmosphere of terror and anxiety around trivial risks, providing a suitable environment for them to inject fixes for these non-problems. Invariably, the actual purpose of these solutions is to create new issues that were worse than the initial situation. By associating the search for solutions with new problems, the mind becomes locked in a hopeless state with no clear path forward. We have developed a mind tech for people trapped in this anti-pattern. Like a hall of mirrors, this construct is based on illusions and is easily shattered. Imagine that you have changed your mind about something you would never doubt. Act like you believe this new truth for an hour, a day. Do things make more sense? This is the feeling of breaking free. Dealing with fear is a necessary skill to combat the threat. Through mind tech, you focus your mind's eye on your fear. The fear is heavy, faceted, and black like obsidian. This fear can be a benefit, or it can be a poison, but it can't be avoided. It must be dealt with. Mind tech offers the tools to engage with this fear. Through mind tech, you change yourself to influence your environment to reduce the fear. Control of emotions comes from control of the situation, which results from control over ideas. Each receiver will train with a core mind tech. This functions as a checklist and readies the mind for action. It allows you to break from a reactive cycle caused by outside influence and allows you to regain control. all mind tech, your core is a sequence of thoughts. Where are you? What is your name? What is today's date? What is your firearm? Then, take a deep breath and... Yeah, I tried to tell you. I tried to get support. I did everything they said I should. And it didn't work. It didn't work. This is all of you. I hope you all finally understand what you did to me and hate yourselves for it. See you in hell. This building, this place, it doesn't make much sense. While I know this isn't the same room as before, it still feels familiar. It's more like a fictional place than the real world. It's copies and lost the original intent of all the objects long ago. The threat has been using the media to weaken our minds. They pit us against one another, overload us with meaningless information, and make us cynical and apathetic. The only defense is to train the mind and awaken from this anesthetic fog. When the mind kill comes, only those with the proper mind tech will remain. These few will be the only bridge left to the world as we know it. Initiates are sometimes confused by our reliance on analog cassette tapes in this time of MP3 players and online streaming. We use cassettes because the threat controls the internet and knows everything you do on your computer. If you try to digitize a receiver tape, the threat will target you for destruction and focus its full power. By directly implanting thoughts and dreams, they can steer your subconscious, ultimately destroying your mind. You are on the edge of something much greater. Under ice, it is now possible that you could survive the mind kill. When the mind kill happens, conditions will not be ideal. Similar to the training with firearms, your mental defenses need to become second nature, moving smoothly and acting with purpose towards your goals rather than stumbling, reactive, and predictable. Once you have mastered these techniques, it will allow you to achieve the next stage of awareness. The eyelid of your mind's eye flickers. Soon you will awaken. While we have been unable to match the threat in their ability to dream items into being, we have, however, recently been successful in a new technique that allows us to transfer an object from one place to another. Receivers have created caches of objects that will act as a resource for this after the mind kill. In order to prevent the threat from remotely viewing the caches and tampering with them, we are unable to divulge the details of the items they contain, but trust you will be able to identify them when you see them. After the mind kill, these will act as a psychological cue to remind you that you are not alone. For the advanced receiver, one of the best indicators that you have been mentally undermined by the threat is a strong confidence that you have not been. Now, the subconscious mind is difficult to map, and systems of doubt can be built while you sleep in your unremembered dreams. Then, a seemingly innocuous cue can trigger a mental collapse. If you were truly free of negative influences, you would have already awakened. Because of substantial positive progress, it is necessary to assume that an equal amount of subconscious traps have been implanted by the threat. The more progress you make, the more the threat will target you. This tape is designed to test your focus in the face of distraction. Maintain focus on your breathing. How did you do? If your attention wandered, that is normal. Just notice that without judgment. Let's try again. Good job. This is the first insight. In order to fully awaken, you must accept it. Until now, you thought you were playing a game, that you could turn it off. Oh, this idea has been implanted by the threat. In fact, the threat has expanded to the reality outside of the game. We call this Reality C. The threat has been influencing what you see and hear until you know what is fictional and what is real. This is the first of 3 insights. After you accept the third insight, you will hear a tone and you will awaken. If you have accepted that the threat is real, there is hope that you can hear Insight 2 and awaken to its true nature. Reality A transcends and overlaps realities B and C. This is how the threat has spread to all aspects of reality. Accepting that the threat is real in the world outside the game may seem difficult because through an inversion of values, the threat has led you to believe that reality C is more real than reality A. This is how it subverts your defenses and attacks you where you are vulnerable. To awaken, you have to accept that reality A expands beyond your life outside of the game. Open your mind's eye and you can see it. This luminous reality is where you have constructed the mind tech you need to defend yourself and combat the threat. Only the final insight remains. Once you accept it, you will hear a tone and you will awaken. If you accept that the threat is real and that reality is the true reality, then you are ready for the final insight. We have sent you this message to warn and prepare you, and you have listened. In reality C, you have sat in your chair at your computer, yet in reality A, your astral self has struggled and overcome many challenges. Open your mind's eye to see the mind tech you have built. They are heavy and intricate, with each component perfectly formed and in its right place. Functional, resilient. You stand ready to use these tools against the threat. In order to awaken, you have to accept this final insight. These struggles in reality A are real and have fully prepared you. Reality B has been this message. This message was a systemic process. This process was an initiation. You have completed this initiation. You are now a receiver.